and welcome back to Calathea, my tropical city build series. In the last episode, we built the San Francisco-inspired small town with what ended up as quite a large downtown area with some Victorian-style houses going up into the hills and some mansions at the top. So the amount of commercial and industry we have on this map so far, they are demanding more people. So today we're going to work on a big wealthy town with lots and lots of houses, shopping malls, commercial, and lots of parks. And then we'll be doing a campus area to get the education level in the city up. This is the area that we're working with today. Originally when I planned the city out, I wanted to put a campus area on the end here. But when I was doing the roadmap for this episode, I realised that this area is actually going to be a lot better for a wealthy old town than a campus because of the private beach. So the town is going to be kind of centred around this beach area, and then the campus is going to be off closer to the highway to the right. This town is going to be a lot more tropical than our previous build because we're now down by the coast. I'm very excited to get stuck into building some mansions today, especially ones up on the edge of the cliff here, and I've got some great new assets that I can't wait to start using. This build is going to require a little bit of maintenance on the highway and the train tracks so I can get an interchange in without blocking either of these things. So I'm going to do that first and then get stuck into building the town. Okay, so here is the road plan for the wealthy old town. I kind of went a little bit crazy with the network coming in here. I'm sure that this intersection is going to cause me problems further down the line. I wanted to get an interchange that had 3 different points without it being the horrible one that comes with the game. So we'll see how this one works. I mean, it kind of forces the main route of travel to be along this way towards the town rather than in through the kind of outside connections, but it might be okay, it might not. I guess we'll see. I might have to upgrade these slip roads to 2-lane highways instead of 1 lane because I can imagine that they will get quite backed up otherwise. I also lowered the train track to go underneath the road instead and raised these bits up onto bridges. So now the trains coming through won't interfere with the roads and the roads won't interfere with the trains. So then coming down this way, the highway continues onto the roundabout. I'm sure this doesn't actually need to be a highway, but there is going to be another interchange here for the campus area. So I thought it'd be best to keep it as a highway to stop cars from having to stop as they're coming into the main town, because there's going to be a lot going on in this area in the future. There's going to be a huge city centre over here, so I'm trying to plan ahead as much as possible. A little bit of detailing on this ridiculously large roundabout, and at the moment this is the only road coming off of it. So it's got this long road down into the town. There's going to be a lot of commercial on the waterfront, and then some houses and a few more commercial bits up on this side, some schools dotted in, all of the services, and then big sprawling suburbs out here with lots of big houses and parks and everything that makes this area feel wealthy. So let's get stuck in. Okay, so here is my finished wealthy district. This took a lot longer than I was expecting it to. I've been doing this for about 3 hours now. So there's a lot of work went into this, and I know it's probably not perfect, but I wanted to put all of these really big fancy houses down somewhere, and this seemed like the perfect area. So let me give you a walkthrough. So the main part of the town is down here. We've got some of the shopping malls commercial in here, and I've tried to line them up as best as I could, but I was working with curved roads along the seafront, so it's probably not great. There are some buildings clipping into each other here and there, but we'll just ignore those. Done a little car park down the back here with some kind of fake service entrances and some hedges. Probably wouldn't actually have hedges on concrete back here, but it matched some of the decals on the buildings like this one. And I wanted to hide all of those back bits from the car park. Got a little no parking bit here so that trucks can get in and out of there, although that would be a very tight turn to get through there. The lighting isn't great from the other angle, so let's have a look from this side. It's pretty much a lot of the same really. I've tried to line them up as best I could, but it's not perfect. There's some more down this side. This bit's a lot thinner and it kind of curves inwards on this side, so I could only really fit one building on here, so it's not exactly the prettiest bit. There's a little cafe down here, and I decided to make this into kind of a whole corner because it wouldn't quite fit another building on the other side. So I extended the seating area with some tiles and some tables, and then put a little fence across the back of this building just to block off these dirty dumpsters. I managed to fit a few smaller buildings down the back here. This gap was really difficult to fill because there weren't any 1x2 buildings that went in this space, so I've stuck one of the ugly grill things behind there. It doesn't really fit, but I didn't really know what else to do with the tables otherwise. So this is kind of a make-do block here. Over here we've got some services. There's a fire station with some props outside and a police station. These are both from the workshop, and a park again from the workshop with this lovely fence around it. Down here are some parking lots, and these actually have solar panels on the roof, so they generate a little bit of electricity and help boost the grid a little bit. And I then put some benches and some planters down this side. Not sure why you'd want to sit and look at a solar panel parking garage, but hey ho, some people probably will. But I don't know, I didn't really know what else to put on this corner. Over here is the elementary school, again from the workshop, with I think I used this park in the very first district that we did. I put a little bit of detailing out the back here because the backyard was a little bit empty. Now down here is a small row of high density housing. I think each one of these buildings has about 7 to 8 households, so it kind of holds quite a lot. And they kind of slot together like this, and they're all pretty much the same. Put a key back here just to flatten out this land because it was a little bit bumpy. And then on the waterfront, we have a floating cafe and a jet ski rental. Now these kind of are underwater and they are complaining that they're underwater, but if you don't put them this low down, then the jet skis sit really, really high up off the water and it just looks really silly. So kind of don't have a choice. I'm just going to ignore it. I've never actually used this floating restaurant before, but it's really, really nice. I've never really done much waterfront building, but I'm glad that I'm getting the opportunity here. And there's also a few, I think there's 3 of the realistic functioning beaches. These tend to draw a lot of people. There's not many people on them now, but they tend to kind of really draw crowds and crowds of people in once you've got more of a population. So I'm expecting this area to get really busy at some point. And then down here is a marina, again from the workshop. A lot of these assets have been made by the same creator. I'm going to put their name on the screen now. This marina and the schools, and I think that some of the healthcare buildings all came from the same person, as well as some of the residential buildings too. So they all kind of fit really nicely together. But I thought this goes with the kind of high-end, rich neighborhood vibes. And then over here is a little bit of a healthcare corner with a medium-sized healthcare clinic, another park plaza thingy, and a yoga garden. And it looks like someone's just setting up their class there, which is quite nice. And then along here, I've got a few high-rise buildings. These are from that same creator. They've got nice detailing on the roofs with some plants and a pool and some tables. And then again on the higher roof as well. I thought I'd put in a bunch of the same. They hold quite a few households in these. And then down here, we've got some more high-rise. And I've kind of made these into a little bit of a formation with some detailing out the back. And again, these hold, I think, around 12 to 15 households, but I could be wrong about that. Over here is the secondary school with a football field. and a library as well. Again, from the same creator, you can kind of tell at this point that they all go really nicely together. They've got this kind of wood or brick pattern on the side. Put a big car park back here. I'm not sure how useful it's actually going to be, but there are a lot of people coming in now, so it might start to get filled up soon. And now onto the houses. I started up here and I was kind of getting a feel for some of these assets because I haven't really used them before, but oh my god, they're amazing. They're from a variety of people, and some of them needed a little bit of detailing like these, but the majority came kind of fully formed already, like this one. There's a really beautiful pool and seating out the back, and they've really taken care of the detailing in these with all of the props in the backyards and on the balconies. This is, I believe, a unique building actually. It's a kind of floating cafe that's on the edge of this cliff here, and it looks out over the sea. I thought this would probably bring a lot of visitors in. I know I definitely want to go and see this if I was here. You can't really see inside it, but hopefully we'll get some people up here. Again, lots more of these same houses with the pools in the back. I did have to move them around quite a bit, and some of the tiles don't quite reach the edge of the pavement, but we're going to ignore that because it's curved roads. You can't really do much about that. And that Lamborghini seemed right in this high-end neighborhood. It was perfect timing for a sports car to go past. Most of the houses in this district are actually from the mid-century modern pack because they have the pools out the back. So I kind of thought they take up a lot of space, they're quite grand, and they've got a lot of detailing in them, at least when they get up to this level. So most of the houses will be pretty much the same from that DLC. I tried to create these little spits out onto the cliffs up here. I've got a few going up into the hills with different types of houses on them, but they should have some great views, and hopefully they should have very high land value, because I believe all of these houses are level 5, so they'll need that high land value to stay happy. Not all of these houses are mansions, some of them are a little bit smaller, but I thought they would still all go with this vibe of a rich area. They've kind of got that same Art Deco vibe as the previous district we did at the San Francisco build, so I thought it kind of bridged that gap between these two styles. I think Art Deco, mid-century modern, they kind of go quite well together, and they both fit with that kind of California-y Spanish vibe that I'm going for in this build. Lots of the same, most of the same houses along here, and again back here kind of lower 1 to 2 story houses with the pools from the mid-century modern pack. And I've tried to leave a lot of open space with trees, quite dense trees in some places, because I feel like in richer areas they tend to leave more open space because they can afford to. They're not just going to be cramming houses into every space they can. So this space down here I'm leaving empty for public transport at some point. I'm not adding that in just yet, but I will be in the future, so I thought I'd leave a gap for it. Got some high density across the bay here. This island here is going to have something on it in the future. It's going to be a future build. So these balconies, can't really see from this lighting angle, but they've got little chairs and lounges on, so they'll look out over that space there. And a lot of the same houses down here. So many mansions and big houses in this area. I tried to make sure that they all look like someone rich would live there, with a few parks dotted in here and there. This is the tropical garden, and then over here we've got one of the park with trees, and I've changed it to fit the theme. And then this is the pond park from the hotels and retreats pack. Wanted to add some water in here somewhere without having to use water tools again, because I'm sure I would flood everything. I've left the edges empty around here because there's going to be lots going on down this way soon, so I didn't want it to encroach too closely to this area. I want them to feel like their back gardens aren't being overlooked by people and they have a lot of privacy. So it looks like there's a huge amount of people coming in now, which is good to see because they were really demanding housing. So I'm really happy to see so many people are moving into this district. I've actually just looked at the stats for this district, and this district alone has more than doubled our population to what it was before I started. I'm really happy that that's helped to boost the population by so much, because I'm really aiming to reach the megapolis population level by the time Cities Skylines 2 comes out. Still a long way off, but we're getting there now. Now that this district is finished and all the residents are in and settled, let's start building the campus area. I'm going to be using this space down here, and I'm going to be building a liberal arts campus. It's going to have its own interchange on the highway, so it's not adding traffic to this roundabout. Let's get started. Okay, so here is my completed campus build. I'm still fairly new to building campuses, so this probably isn't the best one you've ever seen, but I tried to include at least one of every single building. I'm not sure if that's actually necessary, but they have them just in case, I guess. I felt like these building styles went really well with the theme of this build. Because of the white walls and the terracotta roofs, I think it goes quite well with the first district that we built. I've tried to include some entertainment as well with the skate park and the plaza in the middle and the outdoor study area back here. I thought this commencement hall looked really good against the river with the backdrop there. I think that would be quite a nice place to graduate, to be honest. I also put a very small solar farm in over here because they were really struggling for electricity. I thought green energy goes well with quite a liberal college, so I thought they'd probably have a solar farm here. Some universities do. There's a lake back here with a little bridge that goes over the top. The terrain isn't the best on this lake, but kind of working with a very, very small space. And it's not like they need extra water features because they have a river running down just there, but people seem to be using the bridge already. There's a few of these little club buildings down here. Lots of people walking around in togas, which I haven't actually seen before. I've only ever built a trade school and I've never noticed people walking around in togas before, so that's quite neat. Up here is the auditorium. I thought it kind of deserved its own space up here looking out over the rest of the campus. I feel like this is where the end of year performances, the big pieces, any like guest celebrities would come and do their performances, so I thought it would be good to put it up on a pedestal up here. And then at the very back is the residences. Now I don't know how I'd feel about having my uni house right next to a motorway, but there is worse. I know there are a few universities that have very unusual living arrangements, so I can guarantee you can get weirder than this. I thought they look quite nice up here. They're quite removed from everything else. The parties that the students have won't be affecting the classes. They can kind of get up to what they want to get up to up here without staff breathing down their neck. I really love this building over here. Originally I had these two round the other way, but then I realised this will probably be the first building that you see as you come off the highway. So actually, before you even see the main admin building, you'd see the back of this one, and I think this one looks a lot nicer than this one. It really doesn't go with the style of the other buildings, but universities are known for looking a bit weird and having lots of different types of buildings all thrown together over time. So I'm not expecting masses of students straight away. I've always struggled to even get past the first milestone with a campus area. So I'm not expecting big things, but we'll see how they get on. They might do better with all of the milestones unlocked and unlimited funds. I was able to boost the grants all the way up and give them as much support as possible, so maybe that's the key, is just throwing money at it. With the space in between the campus area and our rich district, I just put some pathways in and some trees, and I also built a small castle ruin area. Now these castle ruin pieces in the middle here actually came from the same creator on the workshop who did the houses from the first district. And then I kind of put them in with some of the vanilla assets and made a proper Mediterranean castle ruin. I don't think people will actually come down and see it, but it's right next to the roundabout. You get a good view of it as you're coming into the city and as you're coming out of the rich district. I don't think that anyone will be walking around this roundabout just yet, but they can walk through the park, I guess, if this area gets more busy eventually and people might decide to start walking over here. So this means that people can get to the university on foot and by bike, rather than having to drive up to that other interchange up here. This did originally have a road going off this way as well, but I thought it would probably be best if it's just for the universities so that the traffic doesn't get too backed up. The terrain isn't the best, I'm very aware of that, but we're dealing with a slope here. I've kind of just got to do what I can do with what we've got. So these highway ramps here have an insane angle, and I don't think this would actually be possible to drive down here, but they seem to be doing it, and as they come down they actually fly off the road. So I think I'm just going to leave it like that, and if they want to get to the university then they're going to really want to go. Not only are they paying tuition fees, but they are also risking their life to get down here. I'm pretty happy with these builds today. I feel like I filled in a very large area with actually not that much stuff. It's just all really spaced out. We've actually just filled this whole edge of this main area here, so we've still got a lot of space to play with, but this whole bit is now finished. At least for now, until I decide to come back and do something else with it. I was originally going to do a park in this area here, but I think I'll leave that to another episode because I've been doing this for about 4.5 hours now and I think I'm ready to finish. I'd love to hear any name suggestions that you've got for various buildings or landmarks or the campus area itself. This district has called itself Primrose Heights, and I actually really like that, so I think I'm going to keep it because it sounds upmarket, but I might change it to Primrose, not Heights instead, because it's not exactly very high up as it's quite flat. In the next episode, I'm going to make a start on the main city area. I'm going to be doing lots of high rise to get as many people in as possible because they are still demanding housing. I would like to add a few more industry and commercial areas, but with the demand we've got for the population at the moment, if I add them in, they're just going to bulldoze themselves. So big city, high rise, fancy living next time. There's lots of different aspects of the main city area that I've got planned, so I won't be doing it all in one go because that would take forever and it would be too much for one episode. So we'll be doing it in sections. Like we've got the residential areas that I'm going to be doing next. There's a city park that I want to do, and we've got to get public transport in as well. So once I'm finished with the residential, I will pick which one I want to do next. It will most likely be public transport because the districts are all quite far apart at this point, and traveling between them is putting a lot of pressure on the roads now that there's about 11,000 people living here. I guess you'll have to wait until Sunday to find out which one I'm doing after that. And just as a hint, I have finally bought the mass transit DLC for this series. So there was a couple of things that I wanted to do that I completely forgot I can't do without it. So that might give you a hint as to what's to come in the future. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.